Welcome to the deep dive. You know, the world seems to be changing so fast these days.
It really does. Constant change.
And one skill keeps coming up again and again as just vital: creativity.
Absolutely crucial.
So for this deep dive, we're focusing right in on that. How can we, nurture that spark in children?
Yeah. Think of this as a practical guide, really.
Yeah.
For parents, teachers, anyone raising kids.
Exactly. Giving you insights for the next generation of thinkers, of innovators.
We've been digging into a really insightful podcast episode all about raising creative kids.
Right. And our aim here is to pull out those key ideas, the core concepts.
And give you actionable steps, things you can actually use, not just theory.
Yeah, no jargon, just practical stuff. Because
Yeah.
it's so easy to think creativity is just like being good at art or music.
Sure, that's the common idea.
But it's so much broader, isn't it? It's problem solving, it's thinking differently.
Using imagination.
Yeah.
Coming up with new ways to tackle things.
It's really fundamental, not just a nice to have skill.
Definitely not. It's foundational.
So let's start there then. Why? Why is this kind of thinking so important for kids today?
Well, when you think about the future they're walking into, it's complex, unpredictable even. And creativity, at its heart, is about generating ideas that are both new and useful.
Okay. New and useful.
Yeah, and that applies everywhere, not just arts. It's about seeing problems from maybe an unexpected angle.
Right. Thinking outside the box, as they say.
Exactly. Using imagination as a real tool. With tech changing so fast, complex jobs, you need that flexibility.
So it's essential for just navigating life successfully.
I really think so. Adaptability is key.
Yeah, okay. And the source material we looked at, it really hammered home that fostering this early on pays off in other ways, too.
Oh, definitely. Big knock-on effects.
Like kids becoming more flexible in how they think.
More willing to try things, maybe fail, and not see it as the end of the world.
Less fear of failure, that's huge.
It is. And also just being more curious about everything.
Right, that natural inquisitiveness, it drives so much learning, doesn't it?
It really does. It's like the engine.
And maybe the most hopeful part from the source was this clear message. Creativity isn't just something you're born with.
Exactly. It's not just innate talent for a lucky few.
It's a skill, like learning to read or ride a bike.
Precisely. It can be developed. It can be strengthened.
With the right environment, the right kind of encouragement.
Yeah. And that's really empowering, I think. It means we all have a role to play. We can actually teach creativity in a way.
Okay, so we agree on why it's vital and that it's something we can actively develop. Great. But what about the other side? What things might we be doing, maybe totally unintentionally, that actually squash that creative spirit?
Right. The creativity killers. This is such an important point, the unintended consequences.
Yeah.
The source highlighted a few big ones. One that comes up a lot is jumping in to correct kids too fast.
Oh, I can see that. You want to help them get it right, but...
But constant, immediate correction can make them hesitant. It can shut down their willingness to just explore, to take those little intellectual risks.
Risks which are fundamental to being creative, right?
Absolutely fundamental. If you're always worried about the right answer.
You won't try the weird answer, the new answer.
Exactly. Play it safe.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, that fear just freezes you. The podcast also mentioned too many rigid rules.
Structure is necessary, of course.
Yeah.
Kids need boundaries.
Yeah.
But too many inflexible rules. They can really stifle their sense of autonomy, their natural drive to just see what happens if they try something different.
Limits their room to maneuver.
Yeah. Creativity often needs a bit of wiggle room, space to experiment outside the lines.
A bit of healthy deviation. I like that. And here's one that surprised me a bit from the source. The downside of, packing their schedules too full.
Overscheduling. Yeah, screens, activities.
Right. It suggested that, okay, get this. Boredom can actually be good for creativity.
It sounds so counterintuitive, doesn't it?
Yeah.
In our world, where we're always trying to keep busy, stay connected.
Totally. Boredom feels like failure. Like we should be filling that time.
But the podcast made a really strong case for unstructured time.
Yeah.
Those moments we call boredom, they're actually vital.
Okay. How so?
It's space for their minds to just wander, to make their own connections, generate ideas from inside, not just reacting to stuff coming at them.
Okay. So when they're not being constantly entertained or directed.
They have to entertain themselves.
All right.
They start inventing things, making up stories. You see their own resourcefulness bubble up.
Right. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. So we know some things to maybe avoid. What about the positive stuff, the practical strategies?
Yes, the actionable things.
The podcast we looked at laid out 5 sort of key approaches. Let's get into those. First one was about questions.
How we ask questions.
It's not just that we ask, but the kind of questions.
Exactly. The big shift is from closed questions to open-ended ones.
Okay, give me an example. Like instead of
asking, did you like the book? Which just gets a yes or no.
Right. Conversation stopper sometimes.
Yeah. Try something like, what would you change about the story? Or, what do you think happens after the end?
Okay. Or, how would the characters react if this happened instead?
Precisely. Those questions invite them to think more deeply, to imagine alternatives, to bring their own perspective.
They have to engage more, use their imagination.
It moves beyond just remembering facts to actually thinking, creating.
Gotcha. That's a powerful shift. Okay, strategy 2 is about getting hands-on.
Yes. Hands-on time, providing lots of chances for, tactile exploration.
Like building things, blocks, Legos.
Sure. Or drawing, painting, sculpting with Play-Doh, even cooking together.
Taking things apart to see how they work.
Absolutely. That kind of tinkering. It lets kids physically interact with ideas, make them tangible.
And the podcast stressed something important here. Mess.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mess is often part of the deal. A necessary part, even.
We have to be okay with a bit of chaos sometimes.
We kind of do. Try not to let our own sort of tidiness instinct shut down that exploration. It's where the magic can happen.
Okay, good reminder. So number 3 brings us back to that scheduling point. Allowing for quiet time. Unstructured time.
Dare we say it? Boring time.
Let's dare. That seemingly empty space.
The source really highlighted how valuable that is. It's when kids get the chance to tap into their own inner world.
Not relying on external stuff.
Right. They initiate their own play, develop their own ideas, their own narratives. We need to trust that their minds will fill that space.
Trust the boredom, almost.
Kind of, yeah. Trust the process.
Okay. Strategy number 4. This one feels natural, but maybe easy to overlook. Supporting their interests.
Their individual interests. Yeah, it sounds obvious, doesn't it?
But life gets busy.
It does. But think about intrinsic motivation. When a child is genuinely fascinated by something, dinosaurs, space, coding, whatever it is.
Your drive just skyrockets.
Exactly. Their natural urge to explore, learn, and create within that area is way stronger.
So encouraging their hobbies, their passions.
Gives them this amazing playground for creative exploration that's fueled by their own enthusiasm. It's not forced.
Makes sense. Deep dives fueled by passion. Okay, 5th and final strategy. This one really hit home for me.
Which was?
Being creative ourselves. As adults. Letting kids see us do it.
Role modeling. Yes. Hugely important.
Leading by example.
Yeah. When kids see the adults around them trying new things, solving problems creatively, maybe even messing up and trying again.
Whether it's painting or gardening or figuring out how to fix the leaky faucet.
Right. Or just approaching everyday tasks with a fresh perspective. It makes creativity seem normal, accessible.
Not some special talent only artists have.
Exactly. It shows it's a valuable way to approach life, something anyone can do.
Okay, brilliant. Let's just quickly recap some keywords that kept coming up just to anchor them in this context.
Good idea. Vocabulary check.
We heard creatives obviously fundamentally about generating those new, useful ideas. Then curious. That engine, that inner drive, making us want to find out more.
Which leads to explore the action. Discovering, trying things out.
Yeah. And then boredom. That surprising trigger, the space for imagination.
Right. Which needs unstructured time, that freedom from a fixed agenda where creativity can really bloom.
And finally, support our role. Encouragement, making it safe to try and fail.
Perfect. Those really capture the core ideas.
They do. And hopefully, as we've been talking, you listening have been thinking about your own experiences too.
Yeah, maybe spotting creativity in kids, or even noticing your own creative moments. So let's try and pull this all together. Key takeaway. Creativity is vital, not just nice.
Super important skill for today's world.
And we might accidentally be squashing it sometimes.
By correcting too much, overscheduling, maybe being a bit too rigid.
But the great news is we can actively nurture it. It's not out of our hands.
Not at all. Simple strategies can make a big difference.
Like asking those open questions. Providing hands-on time. Allowing for that quiet, unstructured, bored time.
Supporting their unique passions.
And crucially, modeling creativity ourselves.
Right. So drawing from that podcast idea of taking action, maybe a final thought for you to chew on this week.
Okay, let's hear it.
What's just one small thing you could do? Maybe introduce 5 minutes more unstructured time.
Or consciously ask one open-ended question instead of a closed one.
Yeah, either in your interactions with kids or, heck, even in your own day.
Just try one small shift and see what happens. Observe the results.
Exactly. What new ideas might just pop up? It could be quite interesting.
That's a great practical challenge. A nice takeaway.
Well, thanks so much for diving deep with us today on this. It's such a fascinating and important topic.
It really is. Always good to talk about fostering that spark.
We really hope you found these insights useful, maybe even a little inspiring.